All right, welcome into Humbabe. This is going to be episode 13, and we have a very fun episode for this episode as we're going to give our predictions. Well, not our predictions, what we want the All-Star Game players to be, what we believe the ballot should be for the upcoming All-Star Game in Seattle. And you might hear in my voice that it's a little sore. It's not exactly the perfect voice you heard in previous episodes. And that is because yesterday we were at the Yankees game, the Yankees-Mariners game, where the Yankees lost 10-2. And I was giving Billy a hard time in left field.
It's your fault! Billy, what happened? Come on, Billy, pick it up! Billy, gotta make that play!
But really, nothing was Billy's fault. Josh Donaldson's error at third base was not his fault. Anthony Rizzo's error at first base was not his fault. And Domingo Germán giving up bomb after bomb after bomb was not his fault. But yeah, that's where we were yesterday. And Alex was there too.
Yeah, no, it was fun. Other than the fact that the Yankees got blown out. Like, we got to the game late and it was already, 4-0?
Yeah,
it was 4-0. It was just a disaster. But we stayed till the end of the game, and we got to see our beloved player, IKF, pitch. He threw 1-2-3 scoreless inning.
With a strikeout.
He struck out Eugenio Suarez. And then bottom of the ninth, the public announcer announced him as a pitcher. And guess what? He hit a bomb. But, Sam, do you want to tell the story?
Well, I wonder when the last Yankee pitcher to hit a home run is. But now we know for future trivia, it's IKF. And it just felt like he was going to hit a home run. And without a doubt, he smoked one to left. Smoked one. High up in the air. We're all tracking it in our seats. And it comes the row in front of us off our fingertips, bouncing behind us, and we did not get the home run ball, but we came inches away.
We were so close. It ricocheted past me. It bounced off one of our friends. But it was just a shame. It's a shame. We could have gotten an IKF home run.
And they're rare.
Very rare.
They're rare.
It's so rare.
You know, that was IKF's fourth home run of the year, which matches his total from last year, and basically every year he hits about 4 home runs. But he's got a half a season to double his home run input, which I believe he will. IKF is the star of the Yankees right now with Judge Hurt. He is their best player.
One day we'll get a home run ball.
We will. We will.
It just wasn't yesterday. But for our topic today, for episode 13, like Sam said, we're gonna go over our all-star starter picks. So far, the starters that have been selected is the top 2 players that garnered the most votes, and that was Ohtani and Acuna. So they're in the all-star game. But voting is is continuing. And let's just get right into it. We'll start off with the AL, the American League. Catcher. I already know me and Sam are going to disagree on this one, but Sam, you can go first.
Well, for me, actually, it is a debate. It is a debate. There is one other candidate, I believe, that should get consideration.
Yep.
And who I have as the runner-up, who I believe you probably has as your pick. But it has to be Adley Rutschman for me as the pick. And he's just a difference maker. Adley is just a difference maker all around. The Orioles haven't been swept in a series since Adley's been called up to the big leagues. He has 10 home runs. He's just an all-around producer. He won't strike out. Strikes out at a low clip. Gets on base. Terrific. When it's a ball off the corner and the ump's ringing up a strike, that ball's off the plate if Adley didn't swing at it, because he takes pitches better than anyone else I've ever seen. And then also, he's just a difference maker. You see when he was called up last season, going into this year, different Oriole team. The energy is different. They're having fun. And their record, I believe, is, top 3 in all of baseball since he's been called up. His difference is not just production-wise. It's just the whole team. It's a different team. And defensively, he's an elite catcher. Frames pitches well and throws out runners. Adley Rutschman should be the all-star starter at catcher, and he should be there for a long time.
Yeah, so Adley is obviously a very good honorable mention for me. You can't go wrong with picking him as your starter, but my starter is going to be Jonah Heim on the Texas Rangers, who's breaking out. Top 3 in catcher defense this year. He's elite in every single category. He's 118 WRC plus for the Rangers. He leads all American League catchers in F4 with 2.6. He's just been an all-around better catcher than Adley this year. Obviously, Adley is a better bat. Jonah Heim is a better defender. But just the way that, he's such a catalyst for the Rangers, season so far. I think he deserves to be the starter. But, obviously, in the next couple of years, I won't be surprised if Adley, if not this year, gets chosen to be a starter. But I personally would go with Jonah Heim.
It's fair. So we're going to first base now?
Yeah.
And I think we'll probably have the same pick.
Yeah.
I think it's an obvious pick.
Yeah.
And that's going to be Yandy Diaz, who has a 914 OPS. He's finally showing the pop a little bit, showing he has 12 home runs, finally lifting the ball off the ground, still hitting line drives, but now getting them out of the park. 398 on base. Amazing. Striking out, still at a low strikeout rate, 15%, so not a very low strikeout rate. And I'll have a runner-up, but I'm sure we agree with Yandy Diaz.
Yep, my pick is also Yandy Diaz. And honestly, he's been one of the best hitters in baseball over the past 2 years. He's always had raw power. You can look at his biceps. They're huge, humongous. But he's finally lifting the ball. He currently has 12 home runs, and his career high was 14. So he's going to shatter that record, if not double it. His hard hit rate and barrel, all career highs at the moment. His average exit velo is 95 miles per hour, which places him in the 99th percentile in all of baseball. And his 162 WRC plus tops all AL candidates. He's actually tied with Luke Raley, his own teammate, but Luke Raley's more of a DH. But obviously Yandy is the obvious pick here.
So I don't know if you have a runner-up, but I have to give an honorable mention to Nathaniel Lowe on the Rangers.
Not bad.
Who's just having another solid. He had a very good year last year, and I think he's having a very solid year again this year. With a 792 OPS, 792 OPS, 1.8 F4. He only has 8 home runs, which is lower than I expected. He should have more power than that, and he does. It's in the tank, and I think he's going to have a monster power surge in the second half. But he's still having a very good first half, just not the power that I would have expected. Yeah,
Nate Lowe is similar to Yandy Diaz. They both, in the past, they used to hit a lot of ground balls. They've always had raw power, but obviously Yandy is having more success lifting the ball this year compared to, Nate Lowe. Moving on to second base, a Ranger, Marcus Semien.
For sure.
Is that your pick?
Absolutely my pick.
Yep. Yeah. He's rebounding from his down year. Marcus Semien, you could just call him a good baseball player. He's good at everything. No flaws in his game. Honestly, his best trait might be his durability. He's one of the few guys that you can count on this year, or not this year, but in general, to play 162 games, which is very rare nowadays with, all the stars, taking off they here and there. But yeah, he's just good at everything. Great defender, great bat, great base runner, no flaws in his game. He plays every day, so he's always going to be, at the top of the leaderboards when it comes to WAR. So he's just a great candidate. And there's no other second base in the AL that can really, match him at the moment.
Completely agree. So he's a 2.8 F4. And like you said, he completely outperforms everyone else at second base in the AL. No one's even close. No one's close. He has 61 runs scored. I know we don't usually look at runs or RBIs, kind of outdated stat. But it's just no one else even has more than 30. It just shows his leadoff ability and the impact he has for the Rangers. And then just because I feel like we've covered Marcus Semien, I'll say a runner-up, someone that I think should get some consideration, is Brandon Drury, who's having a very good year, who has 12 home runs. He's slugging 490. Definitely not having the year Marcus Semien's having, but I still think he's having a pretty solid year. Should get some consideration.
No doubt. Brandon Drury got this very slow start, but he's really picked it up in the months of May and June. So it's not a bad candidate, but Marcus Semien is in a class of his own. So he's the obvious pick here. A shortstop, I'm not sure if me and Sam are going to disagree here, but I'll let him go first.
Okay, so I picked Bo Bichette.
We're going to disagree.
Yeah, so that he's slugging 505. He has a 137 weighted runs created plus. He's hitting 317. I know it's not Luis Arraez. He's not hitting 400, but he's hitting 317. And when you look in today's game, where it's not the old, where 300 is now even harder than it was before, in my opinion, to hit 300. It's very difficult to hit 300. And in baseball, you hear people say all the time, oh, you hit 300, you're successful 3 out of 10 times. That's amazing. And he's better than that. And obviously, Luis Arraez is hitting 400, but he's just different in terms of that aspect of his game. But Bo Bichette, he's a different player than Luis Arraez because Luis Arraez has, 3 or 4 home runs. Bichette has 14. So he has power too. And I think his defense has improved from years past. I know he hasn't been a great defender, but he's a little better defender this year. So that is my pick.
No, Bo Bichette is a great candidate. He's really, continued his hot September. He's carried it on through this year. Also, Franco is a good candidate as well. But I'm going with Corey Seager as my all-star starter. He hasn't played as many games as other candidates like Bichette and Franco, but when he's played, he's been the best hitter in baseball. Not one of the best, the best. 189 WRC plus, leads the league if he's qualified, which he will soon once he gets enough games. 446 ex-WOBA, all of his, batted ball metrics are legit. This isn't a fluke. He's always had this in him, and now he's finally being a true superstar. Someone the Rangers paid $325 million for. And if you look at his triple slash line, 358 batting average, 418 OPB, 642 slugging with the OPS of over 1,000. It's just amazing to look at. And even though his defense isn't as good as, Franco, for example, he's the best hitter in baseball so far. So I can't not give him the starting shortstop role for the AL team.
I have no gripe with that pick. It's completely very good pick. It's on my fantasy team. I love Corey Seager, even though I don't really win very much in fantasy. But no problems with Corey Seager. Excellent player. Having a breakout year for sure.
And I'm pretty sure he said this in our offseason video. Like, we predicted Corey Seager would bounce back in a major way after his down year in 2022. And he's, proving us right.
And the reasoning behind that was the elimination of the shift.
Yeah.
It helps him more than any other player. And his ability as a lefty to just destroy balls through the hole.
All right. Third base, I think we're going to agree here. Jose Ramirez.
For sure, yeah.
All right. Obviously, honorable mention here, Matt Chapman, but he's cooled off since his very hot start. But Jose has been Jose. Elite bat, above average defense, leads third base in F4 with 2.7. There's nothing much to say about him. He's Jose. He's so consistent. He's one of the most consistent players in baseball. You can pencil him in every day, and you know what production you're going to get out of him.
I completely agree. And yeah, so he doesn't strike out. 8.9 K percentage, 513 slug, 11 home runs, and he's so underrated. So underrated. You'll talk when the best third baseman in the league right now. Conversation comes up with people. You're always hearing Arenado, Machado. Sometimes you'll hear, I guess, Chapman, or you'll hear defensively Ke'Bryan Hayes. Jose Ramirez has always been top three, and I feel like he needs to get consideration at this point with the down years from Arenado Machado, as he's the best third baseman in the game.
100%.
100%. He is. And I just think it's a fact now. It's not even really debatable for this season, for sure. Maybe other seasons debatable, but that's just the case. And I know you said Matt Chapman. That's a good honorable mention. I think another Ranger should be mentioned, and that's Josh Young, who's having a fantastic year, 15 home runs and 493 slug. I know he strikes out a little bit. I think the strikeout rate's over 30%, but terrific year. And I think he'll just get better. He's young. He's going to play very well.
No, of course. No, Josh Young is having a really good rookie year for sure. Okay, moving on to outfield. So me and Sam are going to choose three of our outfield selections, but where they play doesn't really matter as long as they're an outfielder. So my first pick is, he's hurt right now, but he's going to start, and he should. Aaron Judge, 189 WRC plus right now, best hitter in baseball over the past, 2 years. He's the closest thing we have to Barry Bonds. He's hurt because of the stupid Dodger Stadium wall where he sprained his toe, hitting the concrete, making an amazing catch like he always does. So he's going to be out for a while. But still, he still leads outfield in WAR despite not playing right now. And also, he's had another IL stint in the past. And yeah, he's still putting up ridiculous numbers. Pretty obvious Judge. Second pick, I'm going with Randy. He's taking another leap to his game, carrying his momentum from the World Baseball Classic. 163 WRC plus. One notable development I really like from Randy is that he's almost doubled his walk rate to around 13%. Compared to 7% last year, and he's just legit. He's electric. He's Randy, Rosarena, this celebration. But yeah. And so my last outfield selection is Mike Trout. Obviously a down year for him, but if Mike Trout's healthy, he's going to be an all-star starter until he can't swing a bat anymore. Down year for him, like I said, 128 WRC plus, but other candidates like Adolis Garcia and Luis Robert have had similar seasons to him so far. They haven't really distinguished themselves, compared to Judge and Randy. So I'm going with pedigree here. The Hall of Famer, Mike Trout, as my last, outfield pick.
Yeah, so obviously Judge, and one thing I want to mention about Judge is even with all the injury time that he's missed, how much you want to bet that he's going to lead the league in home runs when he comes back? Like I actually think he will. Like because his pace is just historic. The way it'll take him 10 games, he'll hit 10 home runs. And then he'll be right back at the top, then miss another 15 games with some stupid injury, come back and go on a tear. That's the only reason it's close right now. If you look at home runs per play appearance, I'm sure he's number one. He just has to be. And then
He is.
But yeah, so Judge, I completely agree about Randy. Randy Rosarina has to be an all-star this year. 163 WRC plus, 14 home runs. The only thing that bothers me about Randy, and this is not even, I don't even have a stat for it, and it's just the same thing with Wander Franco, honestly. Just attitude and like I'm not even joking. Like Wander Franco got benched for 2+ games for I don't even know I'm not in the Rays locker room. I don't know what the real problem is, but frustration. But with Randy, it's not really frustration. It's what frustrates me about Randy is bad base running. He's not terrible, I'm sorry. Too aggressive at times base running. Gets thrown out on the bases. Just the eye test. He gets thrown out more than any other player I've ever watched. He gets thrown on the bases so much. And it bothers me. Just watching him. Because if he just toned down slightly, it would just be so much cleaner for his game. But that's one thing. But I don't want to take away from Randy. He's a terrific player and he's having a terrific year. And, when he gets a regular base hit, I just wish he would stop doing this every single time. You make a terrific play, hit a walk-off home run, fine. But if you keep doing it, it's just stupid. It's annoying and it's stupid. And I don't like it. So you said Trout. Obviously, Trout will play in the All-Star game because he's Mike Trout.
Yep.
And I don't really have a problem with it, but I just think there's other guys a little more deserving this year who I want to give some credit to. And I think Austin Hayes has to be an All-Star this year. He has to be. He's hitting 323, 143 WRC plus. He's an elite defender. And he's crushing lefties. Austin Hayes has been one of the most underrated players in baseball. He's not a superstar, but he's playing like a star this year. And just so we're clear, this is not new for Austin Hayes because I want to look back to last year when he had an unbelievable first half to last year. Unbelievable. He had the cycle in the Nationals game, if you remember. He was just playing out of his mind. Then he hurt his hand. And then the second half, he was awful. So I heard this year, now his hand is healthy again because he doesn't wear batting gloves. He's that type of player. He's healthy again. Suddenly he's back to first half Austin Hayes from last year. What a coincidence. So I just hope he stays healthy because that's just who he is. I figured out Austin Hayes is a very good player and he deserves to be an all-star. And then I also want to mention a couple other guys. I think Yoshida should definitely get consideration. He's playing very well. Only 10% K rate, 375 on base. And then obviously you said Adolis Garcia. I think Jared Kelnick should get some consideration. And then even though Cedric Mullins has been injured, I think he's having a terrific year. And Josh Lowe needs some consideration. He's having a terrific year as well.
No, of course. I agree with Austin Hayes. He's been elite. He's been an elite bat this year, elite player. But I just think he hasn't been better enough than Mike Trout to, take that spot away from him. Moving on to DH. I mean, there's no discussion here.
No discussion.
No discussion. I mean, you viewers know it's going to be Shohei. Don't need to explain ourselves here. We can just skip this, right?
Can skip. It's Ohtani.
It's Ohtani. Yep, Ohtani-san. All right, a starting pitcher. We might disagree. I'm not sure. I'll let you go first, though.
Yeah, so this was very difficult for me because I love pitching, and there's so many guys that are just having really good years.
There's so many good AL candidates.
Starting pitching-wise.
Compared to the National League, which you'll see, there's so many good AL.
There's really so many. And I'm going to go with Framber. I think Framber should start. And so, yeah, we talked about this before the season started, and it's the ground ball rate along with the strikeout rate, which is really just an elite combination. He's still K'ing, guys. We do a lot of K-prop betting. That's what we do. And Framber screws me up a lot because you'll see a team, for instance, the Nationals, who he played recently. They don't strike out against left-handed pitching. That's what the Nationals do. They just don't strike out against left-handed pitching. Framber goes in there. I think he K'd 9 Nationals, but I don't really remember. I'm pretty sure he struck out 9 Nationals. And I'm like, how did he do it? I didn't really watch the game. I just looked at the stats. How did he do it? curveball fastball combination is so unhit. Even the Nationals, who are not a good team, they just don't strike out, couldn't get to Fromber. He just rolls out there every fifth day and dominates. And I want to let you pick first, but then I have really some other guys I need to talk about because there's just so many good AL picks.
No, I was debating for sure between 3 different people. I'm sure that you were as well. But I also picked Fromber, who's one of my favorite pitchers in the league. Like you said, his fastball, curveball combo is just amazing. He gets so many ground balls, and his strikeout rate is up this year. But, every time you see Fromber start, he's going to throw 6-7 innings, give up 1 or 2 runs. And with 7 to 8 Ks, he's so consistent. Last year, he set the record for most quality starts in a row, and he's pitching even better than last year, which is ridiculous. Honestly, preview for future episodes, he's my pick for AL Cy Young right now. But yeah, his peripherals are awesome as well. FIP, XFIP, xERA, they're all amazing. Everything's legit. He's just an amazing pitcher. But I was also debating, Kevin Gausman, who's having another ridiculous year. He's striking out so many guys. He's only a 2-pitch pitcher, really. Yeah, he still fools so many batters. It's ridiculous to watch. And McClanahan, who at the time we're recording this, he left yesterday's game against the Royals with back tightness. So it remains to be seen if it's severe or not. But he's been awesome as well. Again, he started for the AL last year, but I think it's Fromber's turn this year.
Yeah, so I agree. And the 2 guys you mentioned were the 2 guys I was also considering. McClanahan's been amazing. Gausman, I just love KG Split City is one of my favorite pitchers. And obviously former Oriole, but it's not even that. It's just that the splitter, which is a pitch I used to throw, is so nasty. It's ridiculous how nasty Kevin Gausman's splitter is. And the velo's not even the same as it was last year. It's down a little bit. It's 94, 95. And so you'll see, I was watching some Blue Jays games, and you'll see them talk about the fastball gets hit a little bit because it's not really an elite fastball. What makes the fastball elite is how elite the splitter is, which makes you have to guess which one's coming. And the other thing is Kevin Gausman won't walk you. He's going to go after you. He's going to throw strikes. I think he's in the 99th percentile in walk rate, which means he's not walking anyone. And then 2 other guys I want to throw out there are, one, Nate Eovaldi's having a terrific year. He's pitching unbelievably well. And Nate Eovaldi, like Alcantara, even though Alcantara's not pitching well this year, will go so deep into games. I feel like Nate Eovaldi has got to be up there for the most complete games past 2-3 years. I know he was hurt last year, and then it's Nate Eovaldi. And then the other guy, Tyler Wells, needs to be in the All-Star game. Tyler Wells needs to be in the All-Star game. He's having such a good year. The first thing is, when you watch Tyler Wells compared to last year, maybe he'll go 6 innings, give up whatever. He'll be just an average pitcher last year. Give up the 3-4 runs, quality start guy, K 2, 3, 4 guys. The difference this year is Tyler Wells can strike you out. And he's striking out, I think he had 6 games in a row where he struck out 7+. Tyler, if you watch Tyler Wells' changeup, one of the best pitches in baseball. I'm not even joking. It runs off the table. Ridiculous. And so he's 6'8". Why is he good? Because he gets extension. He's 6'8". He's coming on top of you, right over the top, and he doesn't throw hard. He throws 91, 92. But it's by you. It's by you. And you can't say that about some other guys that throw 96, 97, because Tyler Wells is just a special pitcher with a special fastball, changeup. He throws a very good cutter, and he really pitches. He's going to mix up parts of the zone, go up and in on you, go down and away. You watch him compared to other pitchers, and I'm going to point out Gausman. I don't think Gausman really locates particularly well. I think he just throws his fastball split, and it's so nasty you can't hit it. But he's a very good pitcher in a different way. I think Tyler Wells really needs to pitch and really locates up and in, down and away. There's a plan when he pitches. You can really see it. And that's what I love about Tyler Wells.
No, these are all good candidates. Tyler Wells, I want to add, the only thing stopping him from taking it another step, he just gives up a lot of home runs.
That's true.
And he's getting lucky. He's getting lucky that a lot of the home runs that he gives up are solo shots. But it's going to bite him. It's going to bite him if he can't fix that issue. But, he's leading the league in whip. He's not allowing any guys on base, but he just gives up too many home runs. And I'm sure he'll make adjustments to, prevent that from happening. Moving on to our last, position for the AL. I'm going to agree with Sam on this one, but it's this guy, so I'll let him speak about him.
I'm going to talk about the best closer, but best reliever in baseball, and that's Felix Bautista. The mountain coming at you late in the games. When you see Yennier Cano, but then when you see Felix Bautista, this game is over. It's over. And you're getting Felix. Felix is also 6'8". I love those 6'8" Oriole pitchers. It's a fucking mountain standing on top of you. But unlike Tyler Wells, who throws 92, Felix throws 101. And his fastball, the ride on his fastball is special. It does not dip. It is a straight line coming right at you into your living room couch, over your head. And it's getting, you're swinging under it. It's getting over it. It's by you. You know, he's throwing it, but you can't be a one-pitch pitcher because you won't be successful in the major leagues being a one-pitch pitcher. And that's why Felix Bautista has an unhittable splitter. Unhittable. He rides the fastball up, the splitter goes down, and hitters swing. It's one of the, you'll see hitters swing, some of the most foolish swings I've ever seen. And what Felix is doing is he's K'ing 18 guys per 9, which would set an MLB record. His strikeout stuff is unbelievable, and that's what you need to be a closer. You need strikeout stuff, and that's what Felix has. It's lockdown, and I love it. As an Orioles fan, I love it. I can't get enough of it.
No, yeah. So my pick was also Felix Bautista, who reminds me a lot of prime Aroldis Chapman. You know, both hard throwers, both have good breaking balls if they know how to locate it, but also both have command issues at times. You know, Felix Bautista, I think through April, he walked like 7 to 8 guys per 9, but now it's back down to 4, which is very good for his stuff. His command has been excellent over the past month. You know, 1.04 ERA, amazing, striking almost 18 bags per 9, which is historic. It's absurd. Fastball split combo is crazy. Honestly, the runner-up for his position is on his teammate, the 7th man for the Orioles, Yennier Cano, who has a nasty, you know, sinker what?
Sinker change
combo. He gets so many ground balls with it, but yeah, it's the O's have the best 1-2 in the game at the moment.
Well, the thing with Yennier, which is unlike Yennier's not going to strike out as many hitters, which is partially why he throws the 8th and Felix throws the 9th. And Yennier's a 2-inning reliever, which is very good. You want to have that. But the thing with Yennier is he's getting 63% ground ball rate. So you're hitting the ball on the ground, and the Orioles have a good infield defense. So you're going to get outs. And the other thing with Yennier is he doesn't walk anyone. And there was the stretch at the beginning of his year this year where I don't even remember what it was. I think it was 28 innings without a hit or something like that, something absurd like that. And as soon as he gives up a hit, guess what? Next pitch, double play. Grounder to Jorge Mateo over at the shortstop, to Frazier, to Mountcastle, or whoever's playing first base, Ryan O'Hearn. Let me mention Ryan O'Hearn for a second. He should get consideration for being an all-star because he's having a terrific year. I think his OPS is around 950, but I'm talking about Yennier Cano right now. And first of all, I'm not going to talk about it because it's too long, but the Yennier Cano story is a great one. The way he battled back and defected and came over, the Twins really struggled and then finally found his footing this year. But the run on his sinker and the run on his changeup is special.
So that's it for our AL All-Star starter picks. We agree with some positions, disagree on some others. But now it's time to move to National League. But like researching this, there are definitely more obvious candidates compared to the AL. So let's just get right into it. Catcher, Sean Murphy. Best catcher in baseball. I'm saying it. This year, he's been amazing. 147 WRC plus, leads all catchers in F4 with 3. He's one of the best defenders in the game. Like, he's top 3. He's up there. It's like Trevino, Heim, Murphy, and Hedges, you could say. He's just amazing all around. And the A's got him for, nobody really. They traded away...
For Contreras.
They traded away Contreras to the Brewers, yeah. He's just amazing all around. You can make an argument for Will Smith, but Will Smith, obviously a great hitter. He can match up with Murphy for that, but Will Smith is just not as good defensively compared to Sean Murphy. So yeah, this is pretty obvious. It's clear cut. It's Sean Murphy.
Absolutely nailed it. It's got to be Sean Murphy. And Will Smith, the defensive issue is really what's holding him back. I think he has the worst stolen base percentage against. Teams steal wild against Will Smith. He can't throw anyone out. And part of that, obviously, it's not all on the catcher. Part of it's got to be on the pitcher. I guess Dodgers pitchers got to be faster at the plate. I don't know what's up with that, but I think that's enough for that. We can go to first base. And I think it's also obvious.
Another obvious pick. You could go.
Freddie. It's got to be Freddie Freeman. Slugging .558, 15 home runs. He's always that guy, and he's this guy, and he's that guy again this year for the Dodgers. Base hit machine, showing pop, elite first base, everything for Freddie.
There's nothing much to say about Freddie Freeman. He's going to be a Hall of Famer one day. We're going to look back in 10, 15 years, and we're going to be like, this is the best first baseman of our generation. Nothing much to say about him. If you look up professional hitter on the internet, he's going to pop up because that's just who he is. It's ridiculous. He's, 33, 34 now, and he's putting up, 158 WRC plus like it's nothing. And the thing is, like compared to most first basemen, he doesn't do it with power. He does it with gap power. Every game I watch, like the Dodgers play, he's always, roping a double, left center, splitting the gap. He's a doubles machine, which accounts, for his lack of home runs for typical first baseman like Pete Alonso, for example. Moving on second base.
Let me just mention a runner, someone who needs some attention at first base, and that's Christian Walker, who's turned his career around.
He's the best defender in baseball at first base.
Yeah, and he has pop, and for a dbacks team that's surging and really finding their footing, getting into the thick of things, it can't just be Corbin Carroll. There's got to be other guys, and Christian Walker is a legitimate guy in the middle of that order. He's a scary guy in the middle of that order. 5-9 slug, 14 bombs. He's legit.
Former O's.
That's right.
Former O's prospect. Second base, another obvious selection. He actually doesn't lead National League second baseman in F4, but we're gonna choose him anyways. It's Luis Ariz. He's almost hitting 400. Enough said.
That's exactly. I literally wrote 400. Enough said.
Oh.
That's exactly.
But I think there was someone else researching this. There was two other players.
Nico Horner is having a very solid year. He deserves some consideration. And who else?
There was someone with 2.7 F4 that I'm forgetting, but it's Luis Ariz. Something.
Could it be Albies?
No, it's not Albies. There was someone. Moving on to shortstop, though, I think this is where we're gonna have our first disagreement. I'm going with Orlando Arcia. Let's have some fun.
Woo!
Missed almost a month of games with I think a broken bone in his wrist, but he's been the best shortstop in the National League when he's played. He's really turned his career around with the Braves.
Oh, I think you're thinking of Tyro Estrada.
Yeah, Tyro Estrada. That's who it was. Also having a really good year for the Giants. But going back to Arcia, 138 WRC plus leads all shortstops in the National League. He's always been an elite defender, even with the Brewers. He has 5 outs above average, according to StatCast, 4 defensive runs saved. But the bat has really, picked up in a major way, an elite way. And when you combine that with his elite defense, he's one of the best shortstops in baseball at the moment when he's playing. It remains to be seen if he's, going to regress or not. But, All-Stars are chosen based off the first half of the season, and right now he's having the best first half in my opinion out of any National League shortstop.
Okay, I'm gonna go with someone I'm gonna be not having the best of years, but someone who I just believe is the best shortstop, and that's Dansby Swanson. And you're laughing, but Dansby Swanson is an elite shortstop, and he's not. The thing with him, okay, we're saying Dansby Swanson or Orlando Arcia. It's Dansby Swanson. He's an elite defender. He just is. It's proven. He's an elite defender. He's cut down on the K rate. That's what we asked him to do. Can you cut down on the strikeouts? He did it. The issue this year is he's not having enough pop. He hasn't having the home run numbers that he's had in previous years that I like to see. But he's just a very good player. He's an elite player in my opinion. Dansby Swanson needs to be the starting shortstop because no one else has taken that step to be the guy. It's got to be Dansby.
I mean, you know how I feel about Dansby, but I would admit he's having a good season so far. I don't know about elite, but one thing I do like from Dansby at the moment is that he's actually walking more now. His walk rate is around 11%. But he's always been a player that's always hovered around single digits when it comes to walk rate. He's, like Sam said, he's having another awesome year defensively. But, the home run power has not been there this year. So I don't know what's up with that. I don't know if that's like a legitimate trend or if it's just a blip and he's going to, have a hot second half, with the power. Third base, I'm going with another wonky pick, but I'll save it. Sam, you go first.
I'm sure your pick is not my pick. And it's my pick again is someone who's really not having a great year. But I couldn't find someone better at the third base position. And I'm also picking, if everyone is just having a really so-so year, who's going to be the best moving forward? And you might disagree with me, but it's Austin Riley. Austin Riley's the pick. He's not having a bad year. He's having a good year. It's just not at the level that I wish it was. He still has 12 home runs. He's still hitting well. He gets base knocks every night. He's going to hit decently. He's just not having the 25-plus breakout power numbers that I wish he was having. I know he's not a terrific defender, but he's the best on the board. And there's other guys I considered, and I'll see. Let me say, did you pick Heimer Candelario?
No.
Okay.
No. Hell no.
Well, Heimer's having a good year, but I couldn't pick Heimer. I had to pick Austin Riley.
Okay, so I picked someone else. I picked JD Davis from the Giants. Traded from the Mets last year for Darren Ruff. He's having a nice year with the Giants. He's always been a really good bat, even with the Mets. But one notable difference in his game now is that he's actually a solid defender now. He's always been a poor defender, but this year he's turned it around. He has 5 outs above average, although defensive runs saved tells a different story. They have him at -4. But you could say that he's average defender now, which is something that you couldn't say, a year ago, where he was a net negative. The Mets only played him at DH, really, and spot starts at third base. Now he's the Giants' everyday third baseman, which just, goes to show just how much improvement he's made on that, spectrum. And when you combine that with this, good bat already, it's a really good player. And when the big names like Machado, Arenado, and Riley are having down years, I think it's a great, opportunity to pick someone like JD Davis, give him some spotlight.
It's fair. Were you going outfield?
Yeah.
I think there's really 3 obvious picks here.
Really? I think there's 2, and then there's one that you can debate.
Okay.
I know the first 2.
It's Acuna and Corbin Carroll.
Yeah.
And then my third pick was Mookie Betts.
Mine was Tatis. I said you could have gone with Betts, though, but I think Tatis has been better this year.
It's fine. So I'll just quickly go over Acuna and Carroll, who are just obvious picks. Acuna has 15 home runs, but he's 32 stolen bases, and you'll see, can he go 40-40? I think he could. I think he really could.
Me too.
And then Corbin Carroll, we've already talked about him, just igniting the Diamondbacks, playing unbelievably well defensively. They're both studs defensively. Corbin Carroll's hitting .576 slug, 16 home runs, and he's stolen 22 bases himself. So that's just, the stolen base number just shows how much of a difference maker you are. You're not just hitting the ball and then just being a baseball player. Making a difference on the bases helps you win games. That's a win game factor, and that's how you win games. And then Mookie Betts has 17 home runs and slugging .502. And I considered Tatis, but I went with Betts. Also, Tatis has missed time. I just think Mookie's having a solid year, and I think he deserves it. I don't know.
Yeah, so Acuna right now, the NL MVP frontrunner, he actually might post a 40-40 season so far. He's fully recovered from his ACL tear. 155 WRC plus, ridiculous. His xWOBA is 459, which shows that his hitting stats are legit right now. He's hitting the ball harder than ever. 95.1 average exit velo, which is 99th percentile, just like behind Judge and Stan, those kind of guys. Carroll leads everyone in F4, leads the whole league in F4. He's a 5-tool player. Actually, no, Ohtani leads the league in F4, but Carroll leads normal players in F4. He's a 5-tool player, MVP candidate. He's going to win Rookie of the Year. They're both similar. Acuna and Carroll are both 5-tool players. And something I like about Carroll is that he's such a small guy and he generates massive power. His max exit velo is higher than the likes of like Nick Castellanos, and Nick Castellanos is a big guy. Corbin Carroll, I think I'm taller than him, so it's just crazy to see just how much power he can produce for someone that is not as big compared to other people.
It shows that point. That's just such a good point. And I always marvel at guys it's similar, but from a pitching perspective, like Stroman, who doesn't throw particularly hard, but Stroman, what is he, 5'9"?
He's 5'6".
No way he's 5'6".
No, he's 5'6".
Stroman is 5'6"?
Yes.
Well, that's even more of the point. 5'6" guy who throws 93, 94. What did he top at? Maybe he topped 95 during his career? I don't know.
5'7". He's 5'7".
Yeah, so he's 5'7". The amount of efficiency you have to have from a power perspective, from how you use your body, it's crazy. And then Corbin Carroll, the same idea, but from a hitting perspective, just powering the ball, gap to gap power. It really amazes me. And then obviously it's not a knock on the taller guys. It still takes a ton of effort and efficiency and ability from the 6'8" guys to throw hard and have power. But from those 5'7" guys, it's a different level of impressive for me. But then, so yeah, are we going to DH?
Yeah.
I think it's an obvious pick, right?
I think so too.
Jorge Soler?
Yep.
Yeah, so 21 home runs, 538 slug, and he's really doing all the pop for the Marlins. The Marlins are 10 games over 500. He's really a huge reason why. Huge reason why.
No, like Sam said, he's a major reason for the Marlins' success this year. He already has more home runs than last year with 21, and his 141 WRC plus leads all DH in the National League. But we forgot to talk about Tatis. He's picked off, right off where he left off. 146 WRC plus, which is his career norm. Goes to show that even though he did take steroids, he didn't need it. He's just an awesome player. But cool development has been his defense, not a shortstop, but a right field. He's been one of the best, if not the best, defender in right field this year, which is crazy considering he's never played the position before. 6 outs above average, 13 defensive runs saved. His can of an arm plays perfectly at the position, and there's so many highlights I see every day or every week of him, gunning someone down at home or at third base with his arm. Could have gone with Betts. It's a coin flip. It won't matter if you go with Betts. Like they're both awesome candidates, but I think Tatis, it's just has been better by a slight margin. All right, do you want to move on to starting pitcher?
Yeah. So again, not an easy choice. There's a few guys I consider. I don't think anyone stands above the group, to be honest. But I went with Marcus Stroman.
Wow. Okay. Not a bad pick. You can continue. I chose someone else.
And I'm sure whoever you picked is also perfectly fine.
Yep.
Marcus Stroman, for me, I think he is the best ERA in the National League. I'm not certain.
It's either him or Elder.
Yeah. The ground ball rates are I know he's not going to strike out a ton of guys. I like guys that strike out guys. The strikeout rate, it's not just like a cool stat for me. It really does show your ability to get out of, if you can strike out guys, let's say you've second and third, one out, no one out. You strike out 2 guys in a row, you're out of the inning with just a regular fly out. That's a huge ability to have. Whereas a ground ball pitcher, second and third, one out, you get a ground ball, it's a run most of the time. So I really do like strikeout pitchers more. I think that's a huge ability to have. And Stroman's not a strikeout pitcher. And that says to the ability how good I think he's been this year. Where he's not letting guys get on base, he's getting ground balls, he's going deep into games, he's pitching scoreless, and he's just been a huge rock for the Cubs rotation.
Yeah, so researching who I should choose for this position, it wasn't a lot of known names, to be honest. A lot of the known names like Strider, Corbin Burns, Alcantara, they've all had down years in a way. So I went with Zach Gallen, who has continued, his strong second half from last year where he threw 40-something scoreless innings in a row. He's the ace of the D-backs, top 10 pitcher in baseball, leads all pitchers in F4, 2.84 ERA with tremendous volume. He's almost at 100 innings, which is he's going to hit 200 innings if he stays healthy. I like him more. He strikes out more guys compared to Stroman and Elder, who both have really good ground ball rates. They're not big strikeout pitchers. And as a result, Stroman and Elder, I feel like they're due for some regression because they don't strike out that many guys. Eventually a ground ball that is fielded by, one of your infielders is going to find a hole and you're going to allow more runs here and there compared to, striking out guys and, the ball isn't in play, so nothing bad can happen. So yeah, Compared to the American League, there weren't as many good candidates for the starting position spot for National League. So I just went with old reliable Zach Gallen.
Yeah, so definitely I'm glad you mentioned Gallen. Gallen's a terrific pick. I definitely considered him. The strikeout stuff is actually a little bit down for Gallen in the months of May and June compared to where it was in April, which is part of the reason I didn't end up picking him. But he's an amazing pitcher, and he's there's a home road split for Gallen, and he's absurd at home. If this was who's the best starting pitcher at home, I think it's not even close. It's Gallen easily. But I'm glad you said Gallen. I think Bryce Elder deserves consideration. I think Clayton Kershaw's had a fantastic year.
Yep. He stayed healthy too, Kershaw.
And I want to mention another D-backs pitcher. Merrill Kelly's having an immaculate year. He's pitching so well. I'm serious. I agree. He's pitching so well. And the big thing I want to say with Merrill Kelly is the strikeout stuff is up. He's striking out way more guys. And I love this. Like, it's just sinkers. Just like backdoor sinkers getting guys. Like curveballs getting guys. Like he's been so good. And then one guy who will definitely not get it just because of a recent slight slide, but who is just, I think, the best pitcher in the NL for the first month and a half was Mitch Keller. Mitch Keller had a fantastic first half. He does have strikeout stuff. He's an amazing strikeout pitcher. The velo, he can run it up to 98 at times, 100, but usually 98. Usually sits 94. Curveball, changeup. Mitch Keller's a complete pitcher, and I'm really happy that he's turned around because we've always talked about how he's had the stuff to do it, but he's finally shown his ability.
100%. But like moving on to my relief pitcher, I'm going with his teammate on the Pirates. I'm going with David Bednar, who has been just one of the most underrated relievers in baseball over the past few seasons. This year, he doesn't walk anyone. He's thrown 27-something innings. He's only walked one batter, which gives him, a walk per 9 rate of 0.33, which is absurd. 1.67 ERA. Fastball slider combo is devastating. But for this category, you also could have gone with, Alexis Diaz on the Reds, or another guy I was considering was Evan Phillips on the Dodgers, who's just repeating his ridiculous season from last year. And he's just another product of their pitching lab, which is insane. His development, his sweeper, Evan Phillips' sweeper is one of the most nasty pitches. It's one of the most, it's just an insane pitch. Like, no one can touch it.
So I completely agree with everything you said. Alexis Diaz, David Bednar, Evan Phillips, former Oriole that sucked, that now became good. And I'm going to go with another former Oriole who you didn't mention, which is Josh Hader, who's had a fantastic year yet again. Of course, his strikeout stuff is always going to be there. xERA is 1.7. That's the best among those top guys that you mentioned. Ks per 9. Alexis Diaz is better. He's got 16 Ks per 9, but Hader's up there with 13. I know sometimes he can get into a little bit of a walk problem. You don't want to have walk problems as a closer. Always gives team life in the 9th inning, but overall, I just think Hader's had a fantastic year. I wanted to give him some credit.
I totally forgot about Josh Hader. But yeah, like you said, Sam, there are moments where he just shits the bed. He just walks everyone that he faces, and then he just has his blowups, and he gives up home runs for reliever, which isn't ideal. But yeah, that's it for our All-Star picks. I feel like these are, both of our selections. I'm fine with his. I'm sure he's fine with whoever I chose. But yeah, that's it.
That is it. And so we're going to wrap up this episode. We got a lot more episodes to come. Very excited to do divisions. A lot to say about these divisions.
That'll be the next episode.
They're absolutely wild, these divisions.
It is wild.
And then we want to have a lot more fun stuff going on with other rankings that we can do. And then we want to talk about the A's for sure. And a bunch of stuff going on in baseball that we need to talk about. But that's going to be it for this episode. And yeah.
Keep humming, baby.
Keep humming, baby.